Slabbed Cinema, grading film and television like collectibles. Is it a mint 10.0 or a 1.2 dog? Let's find out.
Who is it, Superman? LexLuthor, the greatest criminal mind of our time.
Of our time?
I hereby serve notice.
He's serving notice to you.
That these walls
here.
Will you shut up, please? You.
It's time to review Superman, the movie. Entertainment value.
I'm going to go ahead and give a relatively high score. I'll give it an 8. I think overall it's just good, classic superhero fun. You've got the John Williams score, you've got the colors, you've got Superman.
Hey, Jim! Whoa!
Excuse me.
That's a bad outfit!
Just the pure beacon of hope in this world, in this universe. I absolutely love it. So yeah, entertainment value, I'll go 8.
I'm going to go a 7 on this, and there's going to be a theme with this movie. Is even though it's not my favorite movie, there's not a lot I have to critique as we go through this. Like, I think if this movie came out today, I'd be like, hey, especially compared to what we're getting.
Yeah.
For its time period and everything, I think it's just solid. Just a solid film. Entertainment-wise, solid. Good time.
I don't want to act like it's a flawless movie or there aren't some weird choices.
Can you read my mind?
But honestly, I'm right up there with Tim. I'm giving it an 8. I thought about going lower, but the problems that it has somehow for me, because of nostalgia or something, they don't detract from the entertainment value. Even when they're making weird choices that don't seem to make sense, I'm still having fun. So I've got to stay up at an 8 for me personally. If you're younger than me, you might not have the nostalgia factor. Rewatchability.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7. This is a good once a year watch. Find yourself a moment when you need to just feel good about life and feel hopeful about something better. You can just say, hey, play that John Williams score for me. Let's just do this together. I love the movie. I watch it about once a year. Yeah, 7 on rewatchability for me.
I could see it being higher for a lot of people. Like, if Superman's your character, I think it would be really high. But if you're just a general superhero or movie fan, I would give it again a 7 because I think it's solid. But you know, if Batman's your person, if Superman's your person, you could maybe even go a 10.
You are my number one guy.
Because this is like an important part of that legacy, especially now that we're in the everything gets remade all the time.
Yeah.
But I'd go 7 again because it's just a fun movie.
Not all of the movie is highly rewatchable, but the parts that are like I watched almost all of it today just to be fresh in my mind, and just having freshly watched it, I know if I want to watch this movie again, there are chunks that I would just skip and get to the meat of the great parts. So if you don't want to rewatch the whole thing, that's got to knock it down. So I'm going to go with you guys. I'm also going to do a 7. Execution.
The execution is probably where I'm going to put a little bit lower than the rest of my grades. I do like the film. I think that the film, for the most part, at the time was done very well. The problem is a lot of the stuff is very dated and just does not hold up well today. So I'm going to go ahead and give the execution slightly above half. I'm going to give it a 5.5. And the reason for that, once again, if effects are good for the time and they hold up over time, I think that that's when something kind of transcends. That's kind of that Spielberg-esque stuff that we talked about in the Jurassic Park series. But this stuff just didn't hold up well. At the time, it might have been kind of revolutionary, but it also hasn't held up over time. And for that, I've got to let it slide down a little bit. So 5.5.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm going to give it a 5 because if you look at movies that do stand the test of time, if you look at like the Aliens, the Terminator 2, all those things, you are capable during that time period of pulling off extraordinary things. And this movie, I wouldn't go down a list and say there's extraordinary things that are like that scene, that image, that shot. They did something. Jaws, where the shark going under the boat and, iconic, still looks perfect. This movie doesn't have that.
I'm going to go a little higher because it was revolutionary for its time. The tagline was, "You will believe a man can fly." And you did. And some some of the effects hold up quite well. Like the montage of Superman Supermaning all over town, saving the cat, stopping the burglar on the building. Those all hold up very well. But I do have to come back down towards you guys a little bit because some of the scenes, even for the time, you don't know how they didn't end up on the cutting room floor. I know you put a lot of time and energy and you had a concept in your mind's eye when you did it. Things like Clark outrunning the train. You're watching that, and you're like, that didn't look good in 1978. You know what I'm saying? They were in the editing room like, I know we had an idea. I know we thought this was going to work, but he does not look like he's running even a little bit. We need to and you could have cut that footage because the over the shoulder shot works, going around the corner works, but the wide shot. So you got to detract from that. But also in this execution, the performances in this movie, Christopher Reeves, MargotKidder, just giving, I don't even know his name, but the guy playing Perry White, GeneHackman, just knocking it out of the park for the acting. So I can't go quite as low because the acting is just so awesome. I have to give it a 7. Originality.
I got to go relatively high. I'm going to give it a 7.5 on originality. I think that it was a good concept. I think that a lot of the little wrinkles that they threw in there for Superman and some of the things he was capable of is stuff that was relatively fresh, even to the most passionate comic book fans. So I think that that is something that I do have to give a little bit of credence to. They gave us a very original concept and story in a character that was very beloved at the time. So I give it a 7.5.
I'm going to go 7 because of a lot of the things you mentioned. Now, if I was comparing it to today's movies, it's a 10 because everything that we see now either comes from Nolan's Batmans or Spider-Man 1 and 2 or the early Supermans or the original Batman back in the day. Like everything is kind of getting repackaged and reused. So at least at the time this came out, it was that unique thing. And early superhero movies, like that was a crazy thing. Like that was something that like it working. I mean, that's a win just in itself. It's original that it worked.
I'm going to go all the way up to a 9. And a lot of that, I mean, you could see it all in the 2 opening sequences. First of all, and I always forget it until I turn the movie on again. There's the sequence at the very beginning where it opens in the 1930s and it says like 1930 whatever, and a little curtain opens and it's black and white and you see Action Comics and they're reading from the pages of Action Comics. So the reverence for the source material is totally new. That is like a totally new concept. I think they had more reverence for Superman than the comic books had for Superman at the time. It's not campy. It's not cheesy. It's not 100% serious, but like we're going to take this seriously. We're going to make a drama out of this. And up until then, Superman he'd been on TV, he'd been in movie serials, but he was kids material and always had been. So they gave it more reverence than it had. And then immediately after that, you get into some world building, some 2 movie foreshadowing, because Superman the movie opens with the trial of Zod. And you don't see any of that again until the next movie. So I think that is a truly, like, nobody was doing stuff like that. Nobody even did any stuff like that again until 1977, you did have Star Wars that opened with the title Episode 4, but that was just because he didn't know that he was going to make more. He was just trying to act like it was a serial. This was just like, we're letting you know this is some stuff that isn't even going to get tied into. So that's a real original thing. We tabulated the numbers and Superman is slabbed at a 7.1.
Nerd champs,